We're here at the Lake Barclays Convention Center, and we just finished watching a great presentation by our famous world-renowned presenter. And we came across some fellow educators, very experienced in the planetarium industry, and we wanted to ask them some questions. So, first question is, what led you to work in the planetarium?
Okay, I'll start. My name is Jane Hastings. I was teaching earth science at a high school, and they put a planetarium in my school. They didn't know what they were going to do with it. They just put it in there, and I happened to be taking an astronomy class at the time, and they said, "Hey, you're taking astronomy, why don't you run the planetarium?" And I went, "Okay, but what's a planetarium?" Now that's not quite true. But I did it for 30 years, and I only had elementary students and high school students and middle school students. I was never open to the public. It was only entirely school. It was a great experience, and I learned a lot about astronomy myself, and I learned that I liked it a lot, so that's why I stayed with it all those years. So I really, really enjoyed it. And Leslie took my job, so she might have a few.
She retired.
comments.
I didn't just like
retired.
steal it from her. She retired.
Well, I have a question for you. Okay. So, is the total eclipse important?
I think it's important to, as a means to educate people and get everybody out and looking up and experiencing a new phenomenon. Personally, it's important to me because it will be a new experience for me. I've never seen a total solar eclipse, and I'm very excited to have this opportunity today, or Monday.
Now, how did you get involved to take over her job?
Well, I came about that in a roundabout way. Carl Sagan came on television for the first time when I was about 12 years old, and I was hooked. After that, it was all astronomy with me. I studied astronomy in college, got a BS in astronomy from the University of Illinois, went on to work in several planetariums, in public museums and at a community college. And then I moved to Richmond, and Jane had retired, and I was looking for a job. So.
And this is my husband George, and he also worked in a planetarium, what they call an inflatable planetarium. Went around to all the different schools, so maybe he has something.
Yes. Questions. Yes. So my question is, what advice would you give to a young, aspiring astronomer?
Read. Seriously. Read. Pursue the things that interest you. Don't spend your time playing video games. Seriously, the thing that anybody can do to become successful is to pursue the things that you're curious about, but don't limit yourself to just that. Be open to the world around you, and you may go, "Oh, yeah, that one's better." And that's kind of the way my career was. I started out teaching 6th grade. I happened to be in team teaching and using TV in the classroom when it was cutting edge. And I thought, well, that's cool. And one day I saw a little ad about this big that said they were looking for teachers that had that experience to do educational television. So I went off to the South Pacific for 6 years where I was in an educational television project. Because of that, I had an opportunity to work for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration because they were looking for somebody with a background in TV. They trained me all about aeronautics and space, and then I got really interested in space, and a job opened up where I could teach astronomy and space science in Richmond. And that's how I got into planetariums. I had a 25-foot inflatable planetarium that I could car around in my car and go to different schools all over the area, and happened to meet this neat lady that was also involved in teaching, and we've had 33 years together now.
Yep. Do you have any other questions?
You were involved in the publication.
Oh, I worked in the IPS Journal, International Planetarium Society Journal, called The Planetarian. I wrote a column for it. It was called Jane's Corner, which is kind of a joke because planetarium people don't have corners. And I simply talked to all the planetarium people I could and asked them all the things that are happening in their planetarium. And then I wrote a column about all the strange and funny things that happen in planetariums. And, you know, it was a lot of fun. The column was like every 4 months. It wasn't any big deal, but it was a lot of fun to talk to all these people. Say, well, what happened in your planetarium? Well, when do you hear this? So,
And you know, probably in all the years you were editor of Jane's Corner, maybe the best single article you ever wrote was about the best planetarium in the world.
yeah.
Tell them about that.
Oh, the best planetarium in the world, in my opinion, is in California at the Lawrence Hall of Science, because it was a small planetarium, 20 people could sit in it, circular seats, all what you call interactive. Everything was, how do you want to do this? Let me show you how to do this. Why don't you try to do this? Point out that star. What star do you think that is? Why do you think, you know, it was
Every
just
person that was in the
fantastic.
audience for every show got sucked into the
Right.
program
It was
and became
wonderful.
a participant in the program itself.
And then the staff wrote up all these interactive programs and published them. So we're available to planetariums all over the world to do the same thing. That to me meant they were.
I've used some of those.
Yeah, aren't they great?
Those
Lawrence Hall
lessons
of
from Lawrence
Science?
Hall of Science. Yeah, they're
They're great.
Fabulous.
I have one question.
Yep.
So we just heard that the next total eclipse is happening in 7 years. It's starting in Mexico, north through Dallas Fort Worth, and then keep moving northeast.
Right.
What is the one thing that observers should know as they prepare for the next total eclipse?
Whether they just whether or not they're interested. If they really are, they should go.
Plan.
Go.
Yeah.
Figure
Plan,
out
yeah.
what is necessary to be there.
And if you happen to buy a winning lottery ticket, there's a total eclipse in Chile in only 2 years.
Guys, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're very welcome.